Woohoo! So we are going to start a save with Inter Miami. Inter Miami don't have any games in the MLS when you start the game. Like the first season, you've got to get through. You have to, essentially you can holiday it, but we're going to holiday it to the drafts. So we're going to have to learn. I've never managed in the MLS, ever. I've been playing this game for 20 years next year. 20 years next year. And so we're going to see what happens. We've got the Miami Vice jacket on. We're ready to rock. I've been reading. We're going to do some more reading. So if we're ready for some reading, that's good. And then we'll just find our feet. So if anyone's managing the MLS, you're going to have to hit me up with some advice. Because I don't really know what's going on. So let's start at the beginning. A guide to the MLS. So Scotty threw over a couple of guides. This one's quite good. It's quite in depth. A lot of it as well, I don't understand. If you do want, just a little plug for Football Manager. Not that I need it, but the byline has some good shit on it. And a lot of it, I think, comes from We Streamer Phone's Friday Night FM. So, read it. Read time, 5 minutes. So don't worry, boys. We're not going to do too much reading. So the MLS. Apparently, it's got 2 leagues. An Eastern Conference and a Western Conference. This bit in itself, I read this earlier this morning, well confusing. So there's 2 leagues, and they play their opponents twice. So you play across the leagues, I think. So that's 24 matches, and then the 10 other games being played against the team in the other conference. Okay, so you play the teams in your conference, and then you play some of the teams from the other conference, which means there's 3 teams you don't play at all. That in itself. Mind blown. What the hell? You're 2 leagues, you play each other, and you play across, but you don't play everyone. That seems like it's unfair. League begins in mid-March with the MLS Cup final played in November. So it's not a long season. Top 7 teams from each conference qualify for the playoffs with a series of knockout games. So our job will be build squad, get into top 7, win playoffs. And I think that's it, right? So we picked Inter Miami. And they will get additional drafts because they're an entry team, I believe. So drafts. I've been told to not worry about the drafts. I've been told that if you get the drafts well, they go well. I've been told I need a spreadsheet. So we're going to get going. It's going to go fun. So there are 6 different drafts across the season. But don't worry, you don't have to participate in all of them. So essentially, they're just like transfer windows, right? But a little bit different because you're trading things that isn't always money. The MLS Superdraft takes place in January. It allows you to pick up to 4 players from college teams. So I've heard about this one. Dave said this one's a bit rubbish because you're just picking youngsters. It's like this. The January draft is youth intake draft. You get to pick players from college teams, and depending on where you finish in the league, depends on when you're allowed to pick. Cool. Expansion teams always get the first picks, so we'll get first picks. We'll be an expansion team. That's good. Yeah, so we'll get the first pick. Inter Miami National will get the first pick. Wicked. So we get to practice our first pick, draft, I assume, with youth to intake. So we don't need to worry so much about it. Executive teams get to pick. Okay, so there's 2 waiver drafts. These are just like free signings. That's the free signings. I'm getting ahead of myself. 2 free transfer drafts. 1 before the season starts. 1 after the season, which lets you just get youngsters and out of contracts from teams. Okay, 2 free transfer drafts. 1 youth intake draft. Expansion draft is just for us. 5 players. So this seems mental. You join the league and you get a draft where you can specifically steal 5 players from another team. Alright, wicked. Oh yeah, this is it. And non-expansion teams can protect 12 members of the squad from being drafted. Only 1 player from your team can be taken during the draft. Okay. So I can steal, but I can only steal... I can steal 5 players, but it has to be from 5 different teams. That seems mental. We can sign out of contract players anytime. So, squad building. As all says, building squad is as important as nailing your tactics. That's a lie. Tactics are more important. And I get them wrong all the time. So, we have to stay underneath a salary cap, which must cover all the registered players for 4 million. But that doesn't include designated players. Okay. That's where we're going to need the spreadsheet. Gonna get a spreadsheet going. Let's go. Senior contracts are the normal contracts. Designated players are the highest paid ones. So there are foreign players that we're going to get in. Generation Adidas contracts are for youngsters. But you can only do them once. Yeah, and then they can't be renewed. So then they have to either become a player or you release them. Reserve contracts are for players that are new to league. Okay. Under 25s. And they've put a senior minimum salary. This one seems like a cheat contract. Like, if you're going to fuck up your cap, you put them in here and they don't count. You need to finalise your roster in early March before the first game of the season. You cannot have more than 30 players and no more than 20 can be senior. That's where we need to get the spreadsheet going. Right. 3 designated players. Yep. Burped. As such, their contribution towards the salary cap will equal to the maximum cap of £8 a week. Ah. Oh, okay. So the max that their salary cap will be is £8,000 per week. Oh, it's an annual salary cap. Twat. Regardless of his total wage. If the players signed during the summer transfer window, the clubs get 50% discount on the salary cap impact. Oh my god. So the max a designated player will go in at is 8k, which will be, well, I'm going to put the 8k in and then we'll work out, we'll do it the annual thing. Players signed from an MLS club's academy are categorized as homegrown. They retain this status until they permanently move to a non-MLS club. These players may be registered as either senior or off budget. For senior homegrown players registered as off budget, the combined difference between the salary cap, nope, too confusing. I'm assuming somewhere it will sort this out for me, right? He's the player you were talking about. Oh, he is, yeah. Why is he on loan though? Can't recall him. Well, there's no point recalling him. Actually, like, what are these players doing? We got a whole team full of footballers that aren't going to play football for like a whole year. Oh, baby. Okay. Kinda. I care about this. Rodolfo Pizarro. My little Mexican friend. You look alright. You are a designated player. So we have one designated player. They're full-time because they're out on loan. Let's insert some columns. So have I not done one of these? Is there not like a downloadable thing of this? Like, this is all the shit you're going to need. Ah, okay. This. Okay. But why is it saying 0 on the salary cap? Is that because we haven't put a roster in yet? Yeah. Pizarro's our one designated. This is the potential salary cap impact of a single player depending on the number of off-budget players selected. This is the actual salary cap impact of a single player. But it also says 0. Is that because we're not doing the thing yet? Because we're not part of MLS till next season. Wicked. So this will fill up. And this is what I will put in my spreadsheet. Where are we at? We're in Jan. Is there like a calendar that like gives me the important things that are coming up? Maybe like like in the schedule? No. Like in here? Waiver first. Wave is the first. This one's our first one. So I could holiday through to the end of the year. Is this what we're saying? Okay. Well done, Herb. You did a good job there, buddy. Got myself on the back. Oh, I've got one more space. Oh, no, I haven't. I've got a space for a head of youth development. Do I really want a head of youth